I don't feel that you learn about politics from watching politics on television. I think that there they tend to make two basic mistakes. They think of television as only a visual medium, and they tend to concentrate on the conflict between candidates. They focus on television commercials, but we do as many radio commercials in a campaign as we do television commercials. It's very important. There's 65 million people driving to work every day with their radios on. So you can reach these people in a very intimate setting. Radio is very, very powerful in politics. And also, you can go into things that don't attract visual attention to themselves. One of the people I've worked with on many campaigns is Richard Dresner. I call him Dick Dresner, and most people do. He is a specialist in political strategy, in research, and in media buying. He's tops in all these areas.
We use radio in all of our political campaigns. We use television more because political campaigns tend to be short, and radio for politics tends to be a medium that takes more time to get your message through because its reach is more limited. But the message is just as powerful, and it's an important supplement. Radio and television are electronic media, and we generally always use both. But it's a lot easier to just have to cope with the problem. Okay, I have so many dollars for media, I'll put it all to television, I won't have to worry about creating radio. So often radio is an afterthought. We've worked on some campaigns, Moynihan, Paula Hawkins, some others, where radio was a real crucial variable. There are, in Alabama last time, there were areas you couldn't reach with television that you could reach with radio. Same thing in West Virginia.
Mike Rowan is another person I've worked with over the years. He actually was a school teacher for Eskimo children and got involved in politics in Mike Gravel's campaign. But we've worked on campaigns for Bob Carr in Congress and for Congressman Ike Skelton and many other campaigns. And he's a top research person. He does political research, and he was research director for Hill & Knowlton, which is one of the largest PR firms, and he's now has his own company just specializing in research.
Well, I think radio is a fabulous medium, and I've run whole campaigns with radio. It's an unbelievably powerful medium. For example, one of the things we did with Tony was when Andrew Young ran his first campaign in Atlanta, he was running against a conservative congressman. The research showed that he had to get, that he was right on the issues, okay? But race, of course, was going to be the major issue, okay? This is the early 70s in Atlanta. He needed two kind of like middle-class white votes for every black vote he got, even if he got 90% of the black vote, in order to win. Now, so nobody knew him outside the black community. And when Tony and I listened to him, he was so fabulous. Like his voice is so fabulous because he's a Southern preacher, okay? A lot like the white people who are on television today. And, but like beautiful, you know? He would say things like, you know, there's no such thing as black unemployment and white unemployment. There's just like not having a job. It's really the same experience. There's no such thing as black pollution or white pollution. There's just, you know, coughing on the bus in the morning, all right? And stuff like that. So we did that in radio. The people who responded to the message, okay, responded across the market, okay, racially, all right? So they liked Andrew Young before they found out that he was black. It made a big difference, I think, in the fact that he was able to get past the psychology. You see, television, in a way, is like very powerful because it brings everything to you. For somebody where black is a filter, okay? And a screen by which they're going to go, oh, I'm offended by that. This like cuts through, goes right into the brain.
I got interested in the whole nuclear question when I bought a copy of the New York Times, Sunday Times, in May 1940, and I saw an article about this future source of energy. And I thought, this is just like the World's Fair. They spoke of the city of the future in 1939, and I never saw it. We still don't have it today. In fact, we have cities of the past. But I wonder when that would come about. And when the bomb went off in 1945, I said, there it is. And I've been concerned with this question ever since. And in the 1950s and 60s, I would do spots on the nuclear question and supporting the UN as the best chance of avoiding nuclear destruction. And I did this commercial on WNYC that went like this.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 12, 14, 16, 18, 10.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Young and old, another world war means death for us all. Support the United Nations.
In the 1964 presidential election, Doyle Dane Bernbach came to me and asked me to work on the sound for 6 or 7 commercials. I actually did 7. And I was very expensive at that time. For all 7, I charged them $1,500. And on one of them, they asked me to do a 5-minute spot on alternating nuclear countdowns of Russian and English. And I did that. And then they had President Kennedy and Johnson speak about how they were for dealing with questions of nuclear control and things like that. Then they said, what can we do for a minute version of this? And I said, I have it right here on the wall. And I went to the wall and took off that WNYC commercial I did and said, all you have to do is put the words of President Johnson on the end of this and you have the commercial. They flipped over it. I said, you could take a little girl or a little boy picking the petals off a daisy and go in on the daisy and you'd have a beautiful spot and cross-dissolve to the explosion. Well, they shot this and they did a beautiful job on that, but they went into the eye of the little girl and they actually gave me scripts and told me to take certain lines of President Johnson out, and they gave me the tapes, and I listened to the tapes that they gave me, the parts that they gave me, and they just didn't sound right. They may have been correct intellectually, but they didn't sound right. They didn't move you emotionally. So I listened through 5 hours of Rose Garden speeches of Johnson, and I found the words that I wanted, and I cut it down to what we used on the commercial in the end, and here it is.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6, 6, 8, 9, 9.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
These are the stakes. To make a world in which all of God's children can live, or to go into the dark. We must either love each other or we must die.